Yeah, Guapo, ha, Guapo, huh, Guapo, MoBlock, Guapo, Guapo, Guap, MoBlock or no block, MoBlock or no block, MoBlock or no block, talk shit, get your head popped, MoBlock or no block, MoBlock or no block, MoBlock or no block, talk shit, get your head popped, MoBlock or no block, MoBlock or no block, MoBlock or no block, talk shit, get your head popped. MoBlock or no block, MoBlock or no block, MoBlock or no block.
Gobble gobble, motherfuckers. It's your boy Liam here with a Turkey Day edition of the MoBlock Power Ratings. Whenever you guys are listening to this, I appreciate the love and hate that I received from each and every one of you when determining the ratings, and I hope everyone's weekend is going well. Since it is the holidays, this will be a short episode, but don't worry, next week's Power Ratings will be a 15-minute masterpiece, as it is the final edition of the Power Ratings for the season. Today, I want to break down paths to the playoffs for each team that hasn't clinched as well. Without further ado, let's get into this week's edition. Remaining at number 12 and still our number one candidate to wear the cheerleader costume, we have Juan. You had a huge win last week against Mencho, and that's gotta feel great considering how he called you out in the beginning of the season. However, the path to the playoffs to you is probably the most difficult out of everyone. You lose this week to Markel, and you can kiss your season goodbye, but even if that happens, you need Markel to lose the next one, and the commissioner to lose out as well. That's asking for a lot. Coming in at number 11, down one spot from last week, we have Dashone. 13 weeks into the season, and you haven't spent $1 on waivers. You do realize it's Monopoly money. Not real money, right? As I'm recording this right now, I saw your boy Sun God exit the game, and that's basically your season down the tubes. You won't be in the playoffs, and frankly, you don't deserve to be. Going into next season, I would really study the game of fantasy football, including past and current trends, draft strategies, team building, etc. In order for you to improve at this game, you have to truly learn the game, and in all seriousness, it's pretty evident you don't know the game. Coming in at number 10, down one spot from last week, we have Roland. Even though your mathematical odds of making the playoffs are just shy of 50%, I'll bet whatever you want that you don't have a shot. You have to have the all-time record in 2 WR, 2 Flex, or 3 WR, 1 Flex formats for most games, under 100 points. Everyone will have stinker weeks, but I think this was the 5th game of you scoring under 100. That's just not gonna cut it. Also, I reached out to the analytics department on Sleeper to find out how many teams in all one-quarterback formats started Cheddar Sanders last week. They reported back to me and said 1. What makes it even more hilarious is the fact that you had 3 other QBs on the roster. You literally can't make this shit up. Between you and Dashone, I'm not sure who's more deserving to be relegated to the Looney Tunes League. Coming in at number 9, up 2 spots from last week, we have Cristiano Garcia. Big week for you last week to keep you in the hunt at the time where you needed it the most. Now it's going to be an uphill battle this week versus Pepe, but the reality is your season will come down to your Week 14 matchup versus the commissioner. We'll break down his team shortly, but we know he's had his faults and injuries, so despite all the shit you've dealt with, there is a path here. The problem, however, is if you don't beat Pepe and the commissioner wins his game this week against Mencho, you're pretty much eliminated. However, if just one of those things doesn't happen, you're alive. So I hope this keeps things in perspective. Remaining at number 8, we have Mencho. You've done nothing but run your mouth about how you're going to go on a run the last 3 weeks, and you've just buried yourself even further. This Sunday is sink or swim for your season, so I'd expect your best stuff. But at the same time, why should I? Every occasion this season where you look stunning in the projections and are primed for a breakout win, you've fallen flat on your face. Now, as I'm sitting here watching the Lions take on the Cheeseheads, I see that you started the Lions defense. If you watched the game last week versus the Giants, you should have known they were struggling and you expect them to turn it around in a short week. What makes it even more funny is it's one of your most hated teams, according to the commissioner. With half of your bankroll remaining, I would have expected you to drop a house and secure a top defense this week. Now, the game doesn't revolve around defenses, but it's a clear example of the details you lack as a manager, and I know it's a big reason why you are where you are. Remaining at number 7, we have Markel. Probably the most disappointed I've been in you this whole season was laying an egg in a prime opportunity to move up in the rankings with Showtime, and Zay not winning either. Now you have Juan this week, which is a prime opportunity to end his season and lock in that 7th seed. Now for my thoughts on the blockbuster trade you did with Pape. In the end, I think it's a wash. Even though you acquired Bijan, I'm just not a fan of trading receivers for running backs in 1-point PPR scoring. Now, Jefferson was a big pain in the ass, so I'm not going to knock you too hard for that, but Bijan is basically a lone man standing in that Falcons offense. Sutton has been a struggle this year as well, so I won't knock you or praise you. I'll just see your upcoming results and decide on how it impacted your team. Remaining at number 6, we have Emmett aka Showtime. You had some buys last week, and obviously the wide receiver room doesn't have the depth it once did, but your team just didn't get the job done. You didn't make any lineup errors for once, and once again you made a nice pickup, acquiring Strange on the Jaguars the day before the game. But I think it's fair to say that ugly son of a gun has a better team than you. And I know that's got to sting considering how ugly he is. Anyway, with how all the teams we just talked about are tripping over themselves just as hard if not harder, you control your own destiny, and it's pretty simple. Win, and you're in. A Garcia loss combined with you beating Mencho this week secures your spot in the postseason. But considering how you've made stuff more difficult on yourself, I wouldn't bet on that happening personally. Remaining at number 5, we have Zay. Oh man, what a total letdown last week, and you got exposed. We now see what your team does when Jonathan Taylor doesn't have a monster game, and that's not much of anything. Jama was on a run as well, but once again he had another goose egg. With Sun God going down, this should help his volume. And I just saw on my TV he scored a touchdown as I'm recording this. You're going to go to the playoffs, but the consistency just isn't there for your squad. I can see you having a huge upset in the first round, but not for 3 rounds straight. Maybe if you win this week, you order Jonathan Taylor a masseuse to help relieve his back after carrying your team. Remaining at number 4, we have Vontae. If it weren't for George Pickens, who's the second coming of Megatron and Prime Dez Bryant, combined into one, I don't know where you'd be. He's another one who's been carrying your team and definitely that shitty receiver room you have. I don't even know if the rest of those guys would get picked up on waivers if they were there. Watson might give you a long ball every once in a while, but he's useless for the most part, and Washington is a fill-in player. Ever since the Eagles' bye week, Saquon has been a remedial player at best, and that's got to change if you want to make noise in the postseason. Luckily, you got time for these problems to get fixed, but not a lot. Coming in at number 3, down 2 spots from last week, we have Jamar. Oh boy, once again, Raquan called you out and beat you down with the belt, and that's got a sting. If it weren't for Jalen Hurts impersonating a running back, he'd be a bust, but we all know he sucks in reality football. The back end of your running back and wide receiver room can use some more depth. Addison just isn't reliable with the terrible quarterback situation he's in, and Monangai is in a 50-50 split with Swift. Those guys aren't bad players, but they aren't every week starters. The commissioner told me you tried to move Addison for Johnston on the Chargers, and I'm here to tell you that wouldn't have helped either, so the league did you a favor there. Remaining at number 2, we have this ugly mother. I really gotta say this shit. This ugly motherfucker Pepe. Good bounce back win over the commissioner last week, but even though you revamped your receiver room with new players, I'm not sure if that solves the problem. The Vikings are starting a no-name undrafted quarterback on Sunday, and this makes Jefferson virtually unplayable. Diggs has been solid, but when New England gets up on these bad teams, Mike Vrabel is going to pound the shit out of the rock. He's an old-school coach. Sutton and Shaheed were headaches for you, so I get why you did in theory, but I personally don't see this as a needle-moving transaction. And coming in at number 1, we have Raquan. Here you are, back where you originally started. I was hesitating to say this before, but you were my pick to win this league from the get-go. That's why I'm more critical of you as a manager than I am of your team. My biggest fear is now that you've swept Jamar, you're going to be running around yapping, drinking, and celebrating and...
Yeah, Jamar, here we are again. I think I made this video a couple months ago. Nigga... I just don't know, man. Like, you fucking suck. It pains me, man, because we supposed to be like brothers, and you ass. Like, I have no competition. It's supposed to be a rivalry. And I'm just fucking you. Pause. Actually, Megan, you good. You don't need it tonight. You don't need it tonight, because this nigga sucks. This nigga fucking sucks. Every fucking year. Every fucking year. I'm so tired. I'm tired, man.
You'll fall out of the 1 seed and make yourself vulnerable come playoff time. That bye is a huge and emphasize huge advantage, so focus on that. Win the next two, and it's yours. There you have it, guys. I am looking forward to seeing how everything plays out, and I will be back on December 5th with the final edition of the MoBlock Power Ratings. Good luck, everyone.